Just gonna do 2 as a short one. I was doing 4, but someone showed up here, so I cut the camera. Those are a rare commodity now, the skid cats. And the, what's the 528 was the one that this morphed into. Those still command big money. They don't make them anymore. These have what's called the quad rails, which people around here know what that is. They'd split, very expensive. They would split another set of rails down the middle and drill, I don't know how, through these AR 400 or whatever the metal is in these pads. They'd drill through them all somehow, line up the holes and re-bolt them on. It would sure keep the tracks on good, extend track life. $1995, so still a bit of a, I don't know the word transition era, but compared to today's purpose-built equipment, this is a little bit, these are all conversions and adaptations for the early evolution of bunchers and processors and harvesting equipment. That's a Dennis, which merged with Harricana, which became Den Harco, and then like a DH 550, and they were painted gray. They were 150 grand, yeah, mid 90. They were $150,000, just the heads back then. These stroke delimbers have pretty much gone the way of the dinosaur. So of these Barcos, it's got what's called trig chains on it, little corks, little spikes. Whereas the other kind of chain were on the big circular rings would have 4 claws. They're called bear paw chains, or bear claw. The International Dresser Cat were big in the BC interior. There's still some up there, I think. I know one guy in site prep that's got one. But they never made a big mark down here. It was always cat or deer. Not sure if that was the inspiration for the original Tonka loader, but that has the cab in the front. It's your road with the turning radius. A home-built yarder. Doesn't look too bad. A little Skadil SJ4 size. They're not too fascinating, one photo. 1987. That was called a dog logger. It's basically a tandem, and they kind of put a Jeep, not a truck Jeep 4x4. That's what they called those long single axle things. They're called a Jeep. Usually it would be on the truck these days and the trailer behind it, but that doesn't do much of an explanation. But that was called a dog logger. Whereas that little Jeep thing would trail off the back. I don't know why they call it a Jeep. They shouldn't. It's like I call an excavator a road builder, and you guys, every mile away further from here, you guys can't understand that, a road builder. Not understand it, but you think it's a generic term like a digger, or a scooper, or a backhoe, or a guy that builds highways. A road builder is a distinct BC purpose-built excavator with lots of modifications. But different terms in different areas. The one that I find interesting is down in Oregon there, you guys call your log loader the boom and the stick boom. I've never heard that up here before. Call it the boom or the stick, the boom or the arm or the crowd. On an excavator it's crowd. These would not command any money today at the sales. The reason being, when you're 1,200 feet up on a clear cut and a 30-degree slope, that's a long ways to be packing tools and hoses and 5-gallon buckets. Most operators aren't athletes. So needless to say, like many truck drivers, we do better in the truck and in the machine than on the slope. That wasn't a prototype there. I think there were 6 or 8 of those made. There's actually been one this last year on, I think it's called Major Equipment Sales in BC. A guy that has if you Google that, Major Equipment, they had one on there. It was for, I think they wanted 60 grand or something for it, so it wasn't cheap. Apparently word on the street, they were a phenomenal machine. They'd go anywhere, but the track use, or track cost to run them was just unbelievable. There's a couple on YouTube. There's one that's going on a barge on a little video. Moxie. I got to use one of those for a little bit. They're okay. Their exhaust brakes sound good, so it sounds like you're driving a regular truck downhill. Missoula, Montana, where that would be a logging machine, not a crane truck. At the high cab, I believe they call them a jammer there, which is fine. Or they do their shotgun logging, I think. I can't speak for them, but what else do they do with them? I think a lot of downhill. I don't know if they throw tongs with them or not, but for close stuff. But a lot cheaper than a grapple yarder. Mid-1980s. The old co-ring. There's a cab on the other side. And a Pierce grapple, which means it has a single cylinder. Those are stiff arms. So they close fast. They open fast. Don't have quite as much power. They are a little bit longer in the knuckle area. Yeah, that's got to be for logging. That would have to be. There's a bit of guarding on there, the high cab. Grapple yarding looking boom. Single function ESCO skid cat. Now there's a blade. I don't know what that would be for, like seismic line cutting or just pushing in access trail in one push. Be good for snow. Another single function ESCO. And all the answers to my questions. Yes, those are yarders. 108s. Link Belt did the 98s too. On Axemen, you would have seen the one that Mike Peel ran, the track model. That was LS98. Chain drive still. I'm going slow because I only got 2. Well, I got lots, but it's working good. So I'm finding it interesting, so. But I'm easily amused. So. There's ripper shank boxes on the back of the bucket. Not so good for digging around utilities and gas lines, but yeah, that's what prompted people welding plates. There's all kinds of names for them. I've heard them called sissy plates. They'll put the plate across the teeth welded on for digging utilities. Less chance of snagging something with a tooth. And the world famous Case 580 backhoe. I think they started just as a 580 and then they became a 580 CK. I think CK was Construction King, and 68 or 69 was the first year they had a torque converter. They were said to be good machines even back then, 50 years ago. Had lots of levers. Case set the standard for having, what, 4 levers, 1 for each function. Stabilizers, that'd be what, 6 levers. Ah, the ESCO dual grapple. What's that called? A 5 something? Now I'm just dragging you around. Where's Skidders? I had a grapple like that. ESCO 212 grapple. Okay, well then I had an ESCO 212 grapple on a timber jack. They got a ton of power. But they don't have a big grapple, so you can only put like 3 logs in there. Those deers were really good looking too after the A series. We had an A. They were just ugly. Real ugly. These are just stellar. Just great looking. Smart, practical engineers come up with that style. And last page. Too bad we couldn't go back to just having 5-axle trucks. You'd have more trucks on the road, more people with jobs. You just try to make trucks bigger and bigger, hauling more. Like these guys used to haul, up here we'll call it cubic meters. I mean, this thing's only hauled 28 to 32 cubic meters legally. If there was some hemlock or wet wood in there. Maybe 32, 34 if they had cedar. But now they're hauling 70, 80, 60, huge amounts of wood, twice as much as back then. So it's still just one guy with a job. All right, thanks for watching.